Hello everyone, it's Dan again. This is a creator commentary on the various short stories that make up the Sundays in Space books, a book that I am creating myself. And yeah, so Muscle Planet Business Plan. Now that's a weird title, right? But hopefully it'll become clear as we start diving into the story. This story is please ignore this red line. I accidentally put that there, but we are actually looking at this story right here. And yeah, so this is inside the first issue of Sundays in Space. You can see the cover there if you'd like to check it out. And if you watch the first story, or the first commentary on the Space Thanksgiving story, you will know that I did the colors on that. But this is where it starts to get good, because this is where Giovanna Plata came in to help me color these books. And she's done an amazing job. She's worked with my weird requirements and has always impressed me. Very cool, and I hope you enjoy her colors. I certainly do. Couldn't imagine making this book without her. So let's dig into it. Yeah, so Muscle Planet Business Plan. All right, so when the guys get caught trying to steal something from the Gray Pharma Corp, the girls must put together a rescue plan that is business savvy yet steeped in barbarian lore. So our guys went to try to steal something. They got caught, and now they might need some rescuing. So it starts out. They're listening to a recording from a character named Chief. Now we see Chief. So this is my very first comic, published comic. But lately I have been working on a 4-issue miniseries. I'm working on the 4th issue of that now. But in the second issue of that, we see Chief. But this was his first appearance. Well, I guess you could call it a first appearance. He's on the screen here. But he's letting the girls know, yeah, Red and Flip and Ghost went after the Kick. But it looks like they got caught too. They paused the recording. She lets the other, so this is Annie, Fox, and Hans. So they're all sitting around trying to figure out, how are we going to get these dudes back? What do we know about this place, right? So that's where they start going into putting together a plan. So Fox is like, what do we know about this place? It's a muscle planet, subclass barbarian. So yeah, so that's where this whole muscle planet part comes into play. So you can have different planets that are categorized different ways. You might have a muscle beach planet with a bunch of surfers and stuff, or you might have a muscle wrestling planet, or you might have various things like that, right? And, you know, that kind of gets the girls perked up a little bit. A muscle planet, huh? I mean, like, guys might like a bikini planet. Girls might like a muscle planet. I don't know. These ones do. Gets even better when you mention barbarian. They start giving each other a little dap. But then it falls apart, because it's not just subclass barbarian. It's subclass barbarian business. And you can see that just makes them sad, because, well, that sounds pretty boring, right? A bunch of barbarians walking around in business suits, trading stocks and such. Well, that's the weirdness of the planets in this comic. So they decide, okay, well, we still need to go rescue him. Let's get to work, right? And I love doing this. I don't do this as much anymore. But you will see that she's starting to say something and it trails off. But when I flip the page, what she's going to be saying is the actual title of the story. And I just love how I can work the title into a panel or something. So yeah, you can see, like, we need a Muscle Planet business plan, right? So I love the way that works out. I need to do that more often. I only think I did that in this first issue. I don't know. We'll see. So anyway, we get our typical scene of people preparing for something, right? So you got your cliche of a board with various articles and connecting strings to how the articles all, or how the whatever they're looking at all connects. We got a couple of the girls reading up on some Conan for the barbarian lore. We also got Hans back here looking at an old He-Man episode. We can see He-Man, and you can maybe make it out. That's Man-at-Arms' helmet there. So they're getting up to speed. Oops. One of those scenes where they got plans laid out on a table, and they're moving boards, pieces around the board, kind of a deal. We'll get back to our guys in a second. The girls are still figuring things out, and they're like, hey, let's just bring guns. And Annie's like, no guns. Barbarians don't have guns. Getting them all dressed up to be business savvy. Hands don't really like that. That's not her style. Putting together costumes, trying on props, these ears. Hands is a little bit more happy with her sleeves ripped off. If you ever see her drawn, her regular outfit, she always has her sleeves ripped off. So of course she's going to do it there. We can see Annie looks like she's practicing a speech with some kind of prop. Hands fighting or warming up against the punching bag. Annie's continuing to work on whatever this prop is. Like giving it some kind of. Or it's like a skeleton there now. She's like finishing it up. Putting Fox in one of these robes. So like the barbarians have lawyers, and the lawyers are all robed. So these, when we see them here robed, these are representing the lawyers, while this is kind of a barbarian. And these Fox and Hands are kind of tired, catching some Z's, and this was what I was saying in the last story. Like Annie just started out as a background character, didn't have any big ideas for her, but yeah, obviously she's the one putting all this together here. So she's really stepped up, and just from one short story to the next, I've really latched onto her and took off. But you can see they're resting, but no rest for her. She's got her a cup of coffee, staring out the stars, still figuring things out. Studying stocks, insider trading. Again with the guns. No guns. They're barbarians. And finally, they're ready to go. So this whole time, what have our dudes are up to? Well, so originally, Kick was captured, and Red and Flip, and we see Ghost later, came to try to rescue him, but they got caught too. Well, they kind of got caught on purpose, right? He snuck in some kind of lockpick while Flip's there, or Kick's there, talking about, oh man, what do you think these cubicle mines are like? I hate it underground, and they're picking the locks on their chains. And he's like, yeah, underground, there's no stars, we're doomed. Love the way this lettering turned out. I do use a font, but I don't. Well, I use the font as a template, and then I draw it by hand using that the font in the background. And I love putting little stuff like this in here, or the squiggly lines. I love Cerberus, the lettering in Cerberus. Can only hope to one day become a fraction of that good with my lettering, but that's a lot of my inspiration is that. And then Red's here like, hey man, he's sad. He's like, man, we're doomed. He's like, dude, Kick, we've got a thief, we've got a ghost, and 3 pissed girls had it this way, and me. Let's have some fun. Now, he's very confident that these guys pose no threat to them. I want to make this the whole crew is the inspiration, a lot of the inspiration. There's many inspirations, but the big one is like the Ocean's 11, or the Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 8, all those films, crooks that are just way smarter than everybody around them. they can go in, be kind of cocky, have a little bit of fun. That's what I'm trying to capture with this group. And that's why he's saying, hey, man, don't worry about it. We're here. We're going to have some fun. And he's like, and he's been part of the crew a while. He knows if these girls are pissed, then you don't get in their way. So he's kind of worried, dude, man, are they pissed at me? Wait, maybe I'll just stay in this jail. But of course, they're not pissed at him. They're pissed because nobody likes muscle business. That would make anybody not want to come to this planet. So anyway, so now they are on this planet, walking up to the castle. Now, I should have made this castle more like Castle Grayskull, because we got the Gray Scum. We saw him watching He-Man and all that before. I should have panned out maybe a little bit more and made that look like Castle Grayskull. But it is what it is. So anyway, they get there. They call him out. They're saying, hey, on behalf of the Queen Executive Officer of the Snow Goblins, Hands the Destroyer, they're going to do a hostile takeover of Grey Pharma. Gray Scum's business. He makes potions and such. Potions and poisons and stuff like that. Oh, because this is like a business planet, they're gonna take over this corporation with a hostile takeover. And I guess that has to do with stocks and stuff. And he's like, what? What is this? Women with no muscles? Because obviously, like a muscle planet, everybody's kind of built, and all of a sudden, these skinny people show up. So that's the first thing he goes to. And they're like, hey, you have no authority here. And he's like, no, dude. We've got the dragon eye. Remember, that's that prop she was building, right? So they studied up on these people, knew these kind of things about their culture, and can put those into play to fool them, to figure out what they're doing. Shows it to the crowd. The crowd is all, oh, wow, mercy. Now, accept this challenge. Or, we'll short your company or whatever. I don't know much about stocks. These are just terms that you hear, like whatever. I could be using them wrong. But I think it gets the point across. Yeah. So they're like, okay, so you can either accept this challenge or we're going to take over your company through stocks and stuff. So he's like, very well. I'll face this chicken bone. I love that line because, obviously he's big and towering over her, and she's tiny and looks like a chicken bone. It's like yeah. But I also like this. So you can see he's got like a briefcase, but it's on a pole. It's like got a handle with a little spike, and as he jumps down, he slams it on the ground, and the briefcase part opens up, and there's an axe inside. Oh, that's pretty cool. But then it gets kind of goofy here with this weapon part. Like you can't sign the takeover. You're gonna sign the contract. You don't even have a weapon. I guess that's a ballpoint axe. But Hands doesn't need no pens. She just slides her hand across the axe, slaps it on the paper. All right, that good enough for you there, buddy? I guess so, because he's starting to talk smack, saying once he's done breaking her, she's gonna rot in his corporate dungeon, which transitions us into the dungeon to where Red and the crew are escaping. Right? Skull face, skunk glands. Now we know what that is, right? Skull face, that's Skeletor. Skunk glands, that's Stinkor. So again, pointing back to some of that kind of barbarian lore, but a little bit of fun with stuff I grew up on. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're all in this together. We can overthrow Gray Scum. We can strengthen his potions, perfect his poisons, and sell it all to the universe. Right? So Red, he's the captain. Captain Red, right? He's captain for many reasons. And one of them is he is just very charismatic. He can lead. He's good at riling up a group and getting them to do his bidding. And that's what he's doing here. He's riling up these other prisoners. They're all chanting his name. They're all with him. Perfect. Flip and Kick are here with him. Ghost is here. Now Ghost looks up to Red. Ghost is like a puppy to Red. Yeah, so anything Red does, Ghost just wags his tail at. You can think of it that way. But yeah, so and then remember, these guys came to save Kick, who was here trying to steal something. So when he's riling up all these guys, he turns to Kick and says, "Yo, dude, whatever you're after, take Flip and finish the job. We're gonna move this party upstairs." So yeah, so he sends Kick and Flip to go finish doing what they were trying to do, and is gonna move on. So back up outside, we've got the Gray Scum king of this business, just fighting hands, swings at her. She easily dodges. She's I would say she is my Snake Eyes. Obviously, she's got bands around her arms, like Snake Eyes had. There is something hidden up under there, like Snake Eyes would have hidden, or Storm Shadow, right? Kind of has a Zartan looks, but she never speaks, so she's more like Snake Eyes. But she's very G.I. Joe. Well, those weird parts of G.I. Joe, like Zartan and the ninjas, a lot of that is what helps me build this character. But yeah, so she easily dodges it, elbows him in the face, punches him, debows him. You got knocked the fuck out, right? That's the old Debo from Friday. Yeah, got him on the ground, has him on the ground. Is about to grabs, has him by the beard. Is about to finish him up. The rest of the guys are thinking maybe they should get involved, but Fox is keeping them at bay. And then, as she has him by the beard, he starts changing. He starts turning into a snake. And I think that's kind of from He-Man 2. I can't remember. The snake people came a little bit after I was out of He-Man. I don't know if that was the inspiration here, but it kind of fits. I'll go with it. But he turns into a snake, and they're like, whoa, we didn't plan on space snakes. Fox did, though, remember? The plan was always to bring guns. She's like, all right, then let's just use space guns. And they begin attacking these snakes people. You can see like snakes just everywhere behind them, right? So they're cornered. But like I said, these are our crew. They're smarter than everybody else out there. They're not, this isn't going to bother them. And we end up with just massive casualties around them. They certainly took care of business. Yeah, I love drawing this. I don't know how I drew this because I feel like my skill level at the time, this came out way better for my skill level than I thought it would have. And it's probably not great now. I mean, you might be looking at this and like, that's okay, but it's nothing special. But to me, this was special because this was the most complex thing I think I have drawn up to this point. Very proud of it. Yeah. Giovanna's colors really make it look great too. Just love the way this turned out. Anyway, he's like, yeah, okay, I didn't know they were snake people. You saved us. And she's like, whoa. These are space snake men. That's like 2 savings, so you really owe us, right? But, we're just going to take some of your prisoners and move on. And he's like, you're going to free who? We've already escaped. She's happy to see him. But this yellow guy that used to be the leader or the lawyer for the other guy, the Gray Scum guy, is like, you can't leave. You're now the queen of this corporation. We're short-staffed. HR's in ruins. Every single middle manager lays before us. And she's pointing to those prisoners. Hire them. And Red's like, hey, man, shh, guys, this is just what we planned for. We're going to take it over from the inside. So that all kind of comes together for him. And then we find out, So, yeah, so she's like telling the lawyer guy, just back off, dude. We've had enough of you. We don't want to hear no more out of you. Hands cut off the snake dude's head. It's gonna take that as a trophy. Fox hands her the snake guy's crown. Gonna take that as a trophy. And Red's like, let's get off this trash bag. You'll see a lot of my slang in here has to do with trash. I mention trash a lot. I don't think I show it in the art that much, but it's supposed to be a very trashy, rundown kind of environment. Trash is just everywhere. Pollution is everywhere. I'm not trying to make any kind of political statement. I just can imagine the trash that we generate now, if you multiply that by trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of people or things in space, it's going to be out of hand. So, or a big part of life, you always got to deal with it. So that's where a lot of this comes from, and I got to show it more in the art. But they're like, okay, let's get out of here. Where's Kick? Here he comes. Hey, so did you get what we came for? Yeah, man, now we have a complete set. And what is this? Oh, some of you kids might not know what this is, but this is an old way to store computer data. And in this case, it's a video game called King's Quest III. Well, it's disc 2 of 3. So our crew, throughout their other adventures, came up with disc 1 and disc 3, and now they found 2, and now they have a complete set. And that really excites them because they like old Sierra games, just like I like old Sierra games. I love those games. I grew up on them. And I don't think we saw any dialogue, or not dialogue, like narrative dialogue with the square dialogue, or you guys know what I'm talking about. We haven't seen any of that in this issue, but if you keep an eye out for it, you will notice that these old Sierra games is where I got that from. So you'll always see this red border on some of the narrative dialogue that is on all of the dialogue, unless I forgot to do it. I thought there would be more pictures in here, but here, okay, yeah. So you can kind of see how they do that. So that's where I get that from, and loved these games growing up. Very big inspiration. And by the way, King's Quest III is the best Sierra game ever. So she's like, well, what is this? Is this going to lead us to treasure or something? No, dude, it's a game. You're dealing with a bunch of immature idiots right now. Yeah, I joined a crew of idiots, but you know what, Fox? You should try it. You'll like it. So yeah, so that is Muscle Planet Business Plans. Let me zoom these out a little bit. Yeah, fun story. I really enjoyed this. There was a bunch of challenges in this that I hadn't had to face before. One of them being that scene that I talked about here with just all these bodies everywhere. Lots of people here, with the previous story, it was only focusing on a couple of the crew members, and it would only show one or two at a time. But here I'm showing large groups of people, which I hadn't done before, not as much. And so I was really proud to challenge myself that way. I think it really turned out good. I love the colors. We did like a construction paper kind of background. It was supposed to be pretty old looking. Maybe some old brown newsprint or something was the look I was going for. I think we really got that. It's not really too many background colors to help the paper show through, so I thought that was pretty cool. Originally we had things like Giovanna did some like shining or like lens flare stuff on some of this, and we backed out because I wanted it to be more simple, like an old 80s comic without all the digital coloring, but I think it turned out really good. But yeah, so yeah. Muscle Planet Business Plan. The second story in the first issue. Amazing colors by Giovanna. Okay art by me. Check it out. And when we get back, we're going to look at the last short story of this issue. And I hope to see you there. Thanks.